Hello everyone, I am Stein Tronstad from the Norwegian Polar Institute, and what I will present here is the outcome of a process that started about 2 years ago at the previous Polar Data Forum in Helsinki, Finland. The process has involved a number of people from the 4 organizations that you can see on the screen, and the outcome is a report presenting 10 fundamental principles for polar data policies. Although 3 of those organizations already had data policies that were similar, we recognized that there were needs for both updates to the policies and alignment between them. So what we've done is to, through a process during 4 workshops following the Polar Data Forum, to examine both overarching international data policies of global and important regional organizations. And we've also looked at other policy drivers such as technological developments and new principles in data management. The organizations we've been looking at are a number of UN bodies like the WMO, the IOC. Of course, the International Science Council has produced various important recommendations and reports. OECD is important in this context, and also regional organizations like the Antarctic Treaty System and Arctic Council, European Union. And notably, during the last year or so, UNESCO has come in with an important paper. That's a recommendation on open science, that will define shared values and principles for open science, including principles relating to open access and open data management. The policy drivers we've looked closely at are such as the drive towards open data, which is widespread. We have looked at technological developments relating to the data deluge, cloud computing, big data, etc. Some important principles have come into the picture. Everybody in this audience probably knows the FAIR principles: findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. We have fairly recently gotten the CARE principles relating to indigenous people's rights, signifying collective benefit, authority to control data, responsibility to support, and ethical processes. And also the trust principles relating to data repositories, transparency, responsibility, user focus, sustainability of services, and technology. Ethical considerations are important, notably ethical research and, again, indigenous people's rights. And of course, we have new instruments for data sharing, such as licenses globally recognized, and the demand for transparency in science is always underlying data policy considerations. So the principles we have arrived at, they are core requirements that are or are becoming generally recognized by those institutions and should form the basis for alignment of the polar data policies. Like the IPY data policy, the updated polar data policies should aim to provide a framework for these data to be handled in a consistent manner and to strike a balance between the rights of investigators, the rights of indigenous peoples, and the need for widespread access through the free and unrestricted sharing and exchange of both data and metadata. The 5 first ones are listed here. Ethically open signifies that there are circumstances where restricted access are legitimate, so we listed those. Free and open, of course. FAIR principles are fundamental and widely acknowledged. And acknowledging that due to cost reasons they cannot be universally applied, we've also extracted some principles that are included in FAIR and listed them separately, such as the metadata requirement at the bottom of this list, and also the requirements for globally unique and persistent identifiers. That data must be labeled as reusable is important. Also the ethics of science, whereby you should attribute the authors when you reuse data, and data should be attributable. And finally, 2 principles relating to resourcing and long-term preservation. What follows is the implementation of the principles. We reached a major milestone in the spring of this year, where the fundamentals were adopted by the Arctic Council during their session in Reykjavik in Iceland. And what will follow are processes within these 4 communities to update their respective data policies and implement the 10 fundamental principles that we are recommending. The report is in press as I speak, and hopefully we will be able to provide a DOI to the final version with the report from this Polar Data Forum. The process has also had a step during a hackathon during the last Tuesday in this conference. Unfortunately, I cannot report the results from that one, since this is a pre-recorded presentation, but hopefully something good came out of that. So that's it from me. Thank you all for listening.